Welcome to Salisbury University on the Air, a program highlighting the activities and people of the campus. I'm your host, Jason Rhodes. Now that the spring semester, perhaps the most challenging in SU history, has ended, we send special thanks to all members of the SU community who have worked hard to make the past few months as successful as possible. Here to discuss the ways SU students, faculty, and staff rose to the challenge is SU President Charles Wight. President Wight, thank you for joining us in our new virtual format.
Glad to be here, Jason.
The past few months have been a time of change for many in the SU community. What is your general sense of how students, faculty, and staff met some of the challenges posed by measures to help slow the spread of COVID-19?
Well, the two biggest challenges that were overcome were transitioning to an online teaching and learning environment for faculty and students, and then staff had to learn how to navigate the telework environment, like many other people in the country. So a lot of people had to pivot and learn new things in a big hurry.
They sure did. Now, when the decision was made to transition from in-person classes to distance and online learning for much of the spring semester, it forced everyone to adjust to a new way of doing things. How resilient were SU students in adapting to these changes?
Well, we heard from many students, and a lot of students really didn't appreciate having to go into a fully online mode of learning. It wasn't something that they signed up for, and it wasn't something that they were expecting. And many students felt that the online environment wasn't as effective for their learning. Humans communicate on many different levels. They communicate verbally, of course, but also with body language and micro expressions. And many of these levels of communication are not transmitted very effectively in a two-dimensional online setting, even with video conferencing. And there is a major advantage to the online environment in that it gives you a degree of flexibility in both time and space. But for most of our students, that was not enough. But they rose to the challenge and finished the semester successfully.
They did. Now, the students aren't the only ones who were thrust into change. The faculty, many of whom had never taught virtually, were required to learn some new skills and keep their courses moving forward. What are your thoughts on their performance during this unsettling time?
The faculty did just an amazing job. They pivoted in a matter of days to a completely new, and for most of them, a foreign way of teaching online. There have been people teaching online in various universities, a few of them at least, since the late 1990s. But most of those people learned how to do it over a period of months and years. And our faculty had to do it in days. And so not everything was executed perfectly. I think everybody would acknowledge that. But it was a tremendously successful adaptation to a situation that was beyond everyone's control. I really applaud them all.
That's great. Now, although classes and events aren't happening in person and the public is asked not to visit campus at this time, there are still essential duties on campus, including safety and custodial work, to name just a couple. Staff members also are continuing to do their jobs remotely. How important have their efforts been in maintaining SU's quality of standards during these limited operations?
Well, more than half of Salisbury University's employees are staff members, not faculty members. And that reflects the fact that modern universities provide a degree of support to students and to the business that goes well beyond the classroom. And all of those support functions, whether it's advising or housing or dining or student health, counseling, business offices, all of them are still essential. And so staff members have pivoted, and they have found a way to support students in the way that students need that support, also in just days. And so it was a really great experience to see people dedicated to the mission of this university and adapt to this environment.
Now, we've seen so many stories of faculty, staff, and students stepping up to help others. How impressed have you been with their community outreach?
It's been amazing to watch people and their response to the COVID pandemic. we have had faculty members organizing groups of other faculty and staff to go provide meals for people who are housebound in the community. We have had faculty members consulting with community organizations and business organizations to provide expanded access to federal funding programs, grant programs, loan programs. We've provided emergency funding to students who have been in pretty dire financial straits. And our donors have come really come forward and helped us as well. Many donors contributed to our Student Emergency Fund and helped us to help students. So all of our people in our community have been absolutely terrific.
They have, and it's not just the individual efforts either. SU partnered with Peninsula Regional Medical Center to allow recovering COVID-19 patients to stay temporarily in an isolated student housing complex and be away from their families for their protection. How important has it been for the campus to play a role in the community's well-being during the past few months?
Well, it's always essential for universities to be involved in their communities, because I believe that every university has a responsibility to be a leader in its community for economic prosperity and for social justice. So whether it's Beacon performing economic analyses for businesses and governments local to the Eastern Shore, or PACE helping to organize neighborhood partners to around youth recreation, or ESRGC putting up websites to make COVID-19 data available and accessible for Maryland, SU people have been there for our community in many ways.
As you said, it's been an unusual semester. Seniors were not able to be on campus for their final weeks. Spring commencement was postponed, and cultural and athletic events needed to be canceled, among many other spring traditions members of the SU and greater communities often look forward to. What have you missed most about being on campus?
Well, many people know that I try not to spend too much time in my office. And one of my favorite things to do is to just walk around campus, meeting students, faculty, staff, enjoying people and the outdoors, and sometimes teaching a chemistry class. And I've been working in this office at home for nearly 3 months now. And so what I miss most is being around a campus full of people, especially the students.
I think we all miss the students. And now for the jackpot question. Everyone is curious about whether students, faculty, and staff will be able to return to campus this fall. What can you tell us about plans moving forward for the summer and fall?
Well, we have been working with the University System of Maryland and the other presidents in the system to figure out ways in which all of the institutions will act together as a system, and ways in which individual institutions will have flexibility to do what they need to do for their individual university communities. And so we've been getting the best available science, the best available guidance, and working on a plan to return to our campuses this fall. Our plan at SU is to resume classes in the fall, but in a modified environment that helps to reduce the spread of the virus. And so I will be holding a town hall meeting at 5 p.m. this Tuesday, June 2nd, to announce details of that return to campus plan for Salisbury University. And links to that meeting, which will be held online, of course, will be posted on SU's coronavirus webpage.
President Wight, thank you for joining us.
It was a pleasure, Jason. Thank you.
For our viewers interested in learning more about SU's return to campus plan this fall, visit the SU website at salisbury.edu/coronavirus. In the face of the COVID-19 pandemic, the resiliency of the SU community has continued to shine through. I invite our viewers to visit the SU website to learn more about SU's response to the virus through efforts in the greater community. While SU buildings remain closed to the public this summer, the university continues to host online programs for local children and teens through its Center for Extended and Lifelong Learning Summer Enrichment Academies. Please visit salisbury.edu/CELL for more information. Thanks again to our guest, Salisbury University President Charles Wight. I'm Jason Rhodes, and this has been Salisbury University on the Air. Thank you for watching.